They completely missed nailing the truss altogether.
What in the world are these new construction homes? What's happening?
Stuff like this just hurts my soul.
I'm gonna count the issues with the deck. How about that?
They actually didn't tack this section down.
So new build real estate, let's talk about it. There's so many things to look at when you're buying a new build. Don't think you just buy it like it's Walmart and close on it and you're good to go. There are inspections, there are framing inspections, there are permits, there are sinkholes, there is everything under the sun you could think about to make sure you do this properly. Let's get to it, let's talk about it. There's some wild things to really drive my point home in this video, so let's get right to it.
You know, when I'm looking at a $1.3 million house, stuff like this just hurts my soul.
All right, so it's very clear that this is a little practice zone. For any of the framers hired that day that have never used a nail gun, you practice in this little area first, then you can move on to the rest of the house. Yeah, that's a bit moist. All right, so look at that wall and look how it looks doubled up. That's because it is. The HVAC guys and the plumbers got their measurements off, and in order to house all of the mechanicals and the plumbing, the framers had to come back and add this additional wall.
So these guys are doing the pre-drywall inspection or framing inspection. You can get a home inspector to come and do this during the process. I highly recommend it because you'll see there is a lot of problems. And once they put that drywall up, you might never know this stuff. And not every guy on the crew is a licensed contractor. Most of the time, they're guys working underneath subcontractors, nailing stuff together, and hopefully there's somebody there that knows what they're looking at, and hopefully the county will come in and inspect it. But you always need to make sure you do this in the right process to make sure these things don't happen.
Imagine how much square footage they're losing on all 3 floors of this house. Not to mention that all of the walls are one thickness, but this one's double the thickness. No way this was part of the building plans. So you see that stack of wood between the stairs and the floor? So the flooring system was too short to meet the stairs, so they just added 2x6s, just nailed them together just to close the gap. Come on now. That's that good stuff. That's that structural foam. We fill in any gap that we see with structural foam. Oh, we're gonna need some more structural foam. They missed a spot.
You know, when I'm looking at a 1.3 million...
This kind of stuff really just breaks your heart. You know, you wanting to get into a nice house, you're paying retail to get a brand new build, and then 2 years later you notice there's a crack in the sheetrock. You notice all of a sudden the brick's got a little slant crack in it. Or all of a sudden you go in the garage and you see the concrete's got a crack in it. It's got some settlement issues. These are the things you'll run into years down the road. And you got to make sure that you do these things properly. When you go under contract on a new build, you need to have an inspector come in and inspect the entire house. You need to have something by a licensed person saying this is the way it was the day I was there on this day prior to closing. And then you're going to bring that to the builder before you close and say, hey, these are the things that are wrong with it. You need to fix it. Warranty on the property that they'll usually come in and fix things. You need to make sure that, you know, this is in your paperwork, this is in your deal. Make sure your agent checks all this stuff. And then you want to make sure you have it either completed before you close or they're taking some type of movement. They're doing something to make sure this is remedied. On the large things, I would not close on it prior to this, you know, happening. Prior to this stuff getting fixed. Roofs, cracks, settlement issues, porches, things like that. You're fixing before you're closing. You're not wiring any money until these things are closed. But if it's like small drywall or if it's small little knickknacks and it's not a lot of stuff, well, weigh your odds there and think, okay, they'll probably fix this. They said they're going to fix it. I have it in writing. And remember, if it is not in writing in real estate, it did not happen. It's not they said, he said, she said, that foreman. Odds are some of these guys are not even going to be around when you go to call them back. You need to make sure you have it in writing and it's happening or it has already happened before you wire any money. Let me tell you, because these big builders have attorneys and you don't.
Absolutely. Here for a framing inspection today, and buckle your seatbelt. It's not good. I'm pretty sure the framer that worked on this home had no idea what they were doing. And it is absolutely everywhere. If you're ever questioning as to why you should get a pre-board inspection done, let me give you a good example. Look at the install of that window. This framing has been done so poorly that I don't even know where to start to get it fixed.
Usually the county inspector, the city inspector will come through and do an inspection. When they get the framing up, usually you have a rough-in or whatever you want to call it inspection where they come in, they look at it, and then they tell you can close it up. Why they don't catch it is beyond me, but I've seen many lawsuits that have happened from the city just, you know, signing off on it. It's the builder's problem. Sue the builder, not my problem. The inspector is supposed to be there to protect the homeowner. When these things are done beforehand, who do you think has already got on the good side of the building inspector? All these giant builders. And to try to get them in trouble when they're paying the county all this money, good luck with that.
Whoever did it was completely uneducated in what they were doing. There was a definite lack of pride. Lumber's not even in square, plumb, crooked studs everywhere, unfastened studs, missing hangers, missing nail plates, walls out of square, framing that's just, yeah, I don't even know what to talk about it. You know, 2 missing hangers above my head here. Everywhere you look, there's something. And it's over $1 million home. So we need to bring pride back into the workplace, education, and always be sure to get a home inspection done.
Man, that's brutal. Run far away from a house like that. Never think they're just going to fix it. It's going to take so much to go back through and fix all that stuff. It's going to settle. It's going to twist. Your drywall is always going to have problems. The doors and the windows are never going to act right. And some things you just, sorry. The builder's going to have to eat that one. He should have had a better foreman. He should have been on top of it. He should have been there. But a lot of times in these big buildings, they're going to slap the sheetrock up on it. Nobody will ever see it. They're going to sell it. Most of these builders will finance it themselves, which I don't know how that's not illegal, to finance something, to sell it, and have your own real estate agent in the deal that works for the builder. How they do that and how that's not illegal is beyond me. Everybody should have their own representation. Your real estate agent should be out there figuring this junk out, and you've got somebody to get in trouble when they do something wrong. That's why you have a real estate agent and they have a license, and everybody else has a license because it says they knew better. They knew better.
All right, builder said, house is ready. Go inspect it. We need to close already. The house is done. Let's take a look. Well, for starters, the bathroom exhaust, not piped to the exterior. So I'm in the attic below me. That's the bathroom. Here's the vent line. But hey, that doesn't need to be piped to the exterior. What for? I mean, let's just get sewer gases and smells up in the attic. No big deal. Collar ties? Pfft, we don't need no collar ties, bro. Only half the house has insulation. We're ready to close.
So I've looked at hundreds of home inspections. This stuff happens a lot. You would be surprised, okay? If you're a real estate agent, comment down below, or you're a homeowner that has dealt with this, comment down below. I want to hear what you have to say so we can all learn from you. But the amount of times I could say that a vent doesn't go through the roof is a lot. With these houses being sealed up like they are and spray foamed and can't breathe, you're going to smell that gas. You're going to wonder, what is that smell in this house? And after a while, you're going to just like, your house is going to smell like that. And also, when they go in and throw in the spray foam on the rafters, they'll cover up most of the stuff. So you got to really be careful. You'll never know once they spray that foam in there. And I have so many different thoughts on spray foam. Comment down below if you like it. Or if you don't, I'd like to hear from you. But you've got to remedy these things before you close. And you got to remedy them for sure before that 1-year warranty is up. Because then it's yours. And then when you go to sell it down the road, you're paying to fix all this because the next home inspector is going to find it if you didn't have a home inspector. I'm telling you, make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's.
Let's count how many issues we can find with this deck on this brand new, beautiful home. Brand new. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about new construction, but I do these videos to help educate and definitely raise awareness with new construction. because it is not like a new car where you can drive off the lot assured that there's no issues, at least in most cases. So we're just, there's no seismic fasteners at post and beam connections, at least to the northern half. We'll get to that in a moment. The cleats aren't fastened at all to the posts. Look at the grade that this is on. So where's the deck going to settle? That way. Really important that this be done correctly and built sound. Right here at the beam connection and the post, there's no seismic fastener. So look how they added one over here, but not at the northern half. And these all have their shoulder-on fasteners. Then they left lag bolts sticking out right here. And then this is another fun one. That's a gas line over there. I'm gonna zoom in. That's a little access for mice or rats to get in the crawl space. And then notice that ledger board, the nails right there, it's not lag bolted. But look at this, the northern half. Come back a little bit. Look at all those lag bolts there. Just a total oversight. So those are some concerning issues. And then this post, whoop, this one right here, way out of plumb. That's plumb. So it's already showing signs of movement.
I tell you, to the untrained eye, people would just probably pass on that. But to a trained professional, you see these problems. And this is why you have it documented with a person with a license. Because one of the hardest things to do in real estate is argue with somebody. And in many of the licenses won't let you argue, won't let you state many things outside of your license or your scope of expertise. And so you have home inspectors, you have contractors, you have roofers, general contractors, you have HVAC guys, all these guys, and you're not allowed to argue with each other on certain things. And it creates this circular game, right? Stuff like this, I'm just telling you, that house, that porch is gonna shift. You're gonna have, you can already see it shifting, and the home inspector is pointing it out. And in many of these deals, you've got to negotiate a margin of error. You're gonna see something on every house that is gonna be a problem. You're not gonna catch everything. You try to mitigate. Real estate is a game of mitigation. You mitigate these things with inspections, and at that point in time it was like that. And then you try to negotiate a little under, thinking for that 10% variable or 5% variable, and you hope to make it happen. But with big things like this, they're hard to remedy. Sinkholes. You'll see that a lot. Why? Because they put a lot of dirt in one spot all at once, and it never settles, and there's air bubbles in the dirt, and a house starts to sink. Where they built it over a swamp, or they built it on a hill. Odds are that hill is going to start to erode over time. It's probably going to shift a little bit. You're going to have these problems, and those pillars are already shifting. You got to make sure they put them in the ground far enough. That wood is going to shrink and expand and twist and turn. You got to make sure it's bolted to the house properly. And it's good that they got a home inspector. He's pointing these things out. Hopefully they can get them in there to build it. Or as a real estate agent, you're telling your client to eject from the deal. The problem was over the last 4 or 5 years, houses were turning so much that the builder was hoping you would jump out of it so he could raise the price on the next person because the comps were going up so fast, which created a real big problem. I've talked about on this channel a million times. Let's get to the next one.
What in the world are these new construction homes? What's happening? What's happening? I may or may not have been requested to knock it on the roof because the builders are starting to try to stop home inspectors from getting on the roof. But just wait. Like look at this. This nail's not even all the way. This is a leak. I mean, I was going to start by talking about how there's literally hundreds of nails on the roof. But we have bigger fish to fry. Check this out. What in the actual crap is this? This home is a very expensive home. The off-bridge vent is completely smashed. And look at that sealant job. Exposed nail. Exposed nail also not hammered in. Look at this crap. Like they literally glued a bag, not glued, but the tar sealed this bag under the shingle, and then it looks like they tried to pick it up and ripped the shingle and then just left it. Damaged shingle, exposed nail, exposed nail, exposed nail, exposed nail. I mean, Just help me understand. Like, where's the quality checks? Where's, you know, who's coming up here to check this stuff? I mean, look.
This is a sign of the rest of the house. If the foreman or whoever the builder was didn't do a walk around and see these things, the rest of the house is going to be like this. And they're going to say, oh, well, they subcontracted out the roof. They subcontracted out the plumber. And that's the quality of work you're seeing. That's okay on that job site. That's what you're getting in your house. Like, that roof is going to leak. Trust me, I had something like this on my roof. It's going to leak. 8 years down the road, I've plugged probably, every year I get up there with a can of silicone just to make sure the nail heads are fine. Let me tell you, you get what you pay for on some of these things, and you need to make sure that roof is inspected. And I'll say this too, if you're buying a new roof on your house and you have an older house, get a home inspector to go up there and look at the roof before you pay the roofer. The amount of flashing and nail heads and things I've seen on roofs that have been paid for is boggling, because that city inspector is not going to get up there and look at it. He's going to point to the roofer and he's going to be like, well, can't touch them all, and you'll never see him again.
There's literally hundreds of nails. Seriously? There's no gutters on this house, so when it rains, all of these nails are going to be in the yard. We got at least 30 exposed nails, ripped shingles, brand new house. And this is a luxury home. I guess what I don't understand is that we're all held to a very high standard in the trades, home inspectors included. This is like the 4th house I've inspected this week with the same problem. We're just documenting what we're seeing. I mean, this is what we're seeing. I can't say who, but I mean, can you imagine how much this house costs? I mean, we could still get into some other stuff too, But it's really the roof that's throwing me. Because, like, that's so important. Like, a roof leak will cause tons of damage.
I mean, we see other things like loose toilets. We see things like shingles not being nailed down all the way. We see things like roofs not being completed properly. We see trusses that are broken. We see all kinds of things like that where the house is just not finished and nobody even looked at it before they sold it.
What's going on, family? I'm inspecting a brand new construction home that's about to sell for $750,000. And let me just show you a couple of the issues that I found. And the home is completed. It has received its certificate of occupancy, but the buyers did bring in a third party to check it out. So the architectural shingles are actually installed in a woven pattern, and most manufacturers will actually void the warranty for doing so. That's not how they're supposed to be installed. But as we come down to this corner of the roof, they actually didn't tack this section down. So we have underlayment, exposed drip edge, and shingles that can easily be blown away in the event of a storm. We have an exterior spigot that's loose and not properly secured to the house. Coming off the ladder, we actually have some exposed framing that should have been covered a long time ago. Coming in on the other side of that wall, we actually have more exposed framing. They need to come back and fill in this gap under the deck.
Yeah, always check the insulation. You'll be amazed at how many times they've shorted the amount of insulation. If you don't have a good amount in there, when that sun gets popping up there in that roof, you're going to feel it on your AC unit, especially if your AC unit is barely powered for enough, like it's right on the fringe of the square footage for the amount of output. And sometimes you can't overpower the house because if it cools down too fast, you'll get condensation all over the house.
Coming on this side of the house, you can actually see where the installers left the plastic on the windows. And we already know the toilet's loose. And the bathroom door does not properly latch. And we have another toilet that, you guessed it, it's loose. And now we come to the attic where we have gas-fired heat that actually goes up, down, and then back up. Essentially, you want this to slope upwards at 1/4 inch for every 12 linear inches. And my favorite is they completely missed nailing the truss altogether. Like, they just didn't try. And then we come up all the way over here. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but they didn't do it. Right here we've got a truss cord with a damaged...
So, y'all want a new house? A new build? See, this is still on the final stages. Brand new house. 1 second. So this customer is having issues with mice. Brand new. Over here by SeaWorld area. Check this out. Ready? 1, 2. Peekaboo! 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 Look at that. Hey! My whole hand fits through there. Mice go directly in there. Look at that one over there. 1 second. So y'all see that? Perfect, right? Now look at this. Whoa! Brand new house. Look at that. That leads directly to the attic. This is why we always check the AC lines. Look at this. Mice are going through this AC line, going into the attic, and they're working their way to the house. Don't know. Look at this, guys. Whoa! Look at that. My whole hand fits through there. I could get all the way to my elbow if I really wanted to. Look how big that is. Wow. Builder error, guys. This eave should be flush to the shingle, but they leave a gap, so we gotta get it sealed up. New house, they say. Buy a new house.
Not only will that leak, okay, there's nothing more frustrating than mice, okay? They're teeny tiny, depending on what kind of mouse you got. And they're fast, and like bug spray doesn't just get rid of them. And if you put poison in there, they'll die and go in your wall and stink up your whole house, okay? Especially a rat, let me tell you. Okay, a big one. We're talking about those little bitty mice, okay? The size of like a cockroach. I mean, these little bad boys are ninjas of the night. And if you got an old house, you'll wind up with them. If you have toddlers running around with crumbs all the time, you got to keep your house really clean, and you got to make sure all your food is wrapped up tight, or they'll eat right through your bread bag, or they'll eat right through the fruit that you lay on any type of countertop. And it took me like 6 solid weeks of ninja work, okay, to get rid of those little mice when we had little Jack running around with cookies in his hands, okay? And you got to really do some forensic work to get rid of them. You got to make sure everything's sealed up. You got to make sure you're good to go. Sometimes you got to go get a pest guy to get up there on the roof and figure it out. Sometimes they'll come through the sewer. They'll come through your sewer pipe. They'll go all the way up your stack. They'll get on your roof, and they'll tunnel away into your house, and there they are. Because a rat can eat through almost anything. A big rat. But those little bitty mice, I mean, they can have a ton of little babies, and all of a sudden they're all over the place. They're kind of cute, but they're also a pain in the rear, okay? And they'll start smelling. They're hard to get rid of, okay? And every house can have these. Don't think that this is only old houses. It's just old houses have a lot of holes, and that's how they get in, or they've lived in them for years. Sometimes they're usually living in your attic and your insulation, and they come down into the house.
New build construction, the builder actually told the buyer that they do not need to get an inspection. They should just wait till the 1 year mark. And the builders love it when you fall for that trick, because then they can blame more of the defects and damage on you. I personally disagree with that logic. If you did not get a pre-purchase or inspection within the first 10 days, then it is more important for you to get that inspection immediately and do not wait till the 1 year mark. And this client is very happy that they did not fall for their tricks, and this is why.
Exposed lath material. More exposed lath material. Loose walkway pavers. We're in the attic, and it's almost like they think we're not going to check the insulation material. I just shoved my flashlight in there to make a hole. And it's like, okay, what do we got? 6 inches? Your damaged truss member. And if the light shines through, then it gets the blue.
Man, well, that's just brutal. But remember, okay, but to some of the, That is brutal. You'd think for a new build you'd get more than that. It would last longer. You would have a warranty. Like, you're going to be safe buying a new build. You hope. You think. You're not going to have the maintenance up front. But I will say this, in some of the defense of some of the home builders, accidents do happen. We hope that the home builder will come in and fix these things. No problem. Hey, we missed that. We'll be right over there this week. We'll have a guy out there. It'll take him a couple hours. He'll be done and they'll fix it. And you hope that's what, as a home builder, they would stand behind their work. But they don't always do it. So that's why you got to always do it the professional way. In real estate, you inspect, and then you inspect the inspector, because you want to make sure you've done this right. It's called due diligence. That's why they give you a due diligence period on most of the contracts. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below with your thoughts. Have you had good relationships with your builder? Have you had bad ones? Are you scared about buying a new build, or would you buy a new build? Let me hear about it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you happen to be looking for a real estate agent on the Gulf Coast of Florida or Alabama, I'd be happy to help you. My email is down below. And if you're looking for a real estate agent anywhere in the country, I can help you find one. Email is down below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I enjoyed this one. I have a lot of knowledge in real estate. As you've seen on this channel, I've done tons of deals, and I've done them for myself and other people. And every one of them is different. I'll see you guys later.